LegitTechTutorials, and welcome back to Beginning C++. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about classes. So another thing that you do with classes is called a constructor. Now a constructor is what you use to set up, is usually the bare minimum requirements that you need to set up a data structure. So for example here, let's add two more public variables. So here is first initial. So we're going to take in their first and last initial. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in here and then we're going to create a constructor. So how do you make a constructor? A constructor is a function without a return type. So basically what you do is you copy the hopefully spelled correctly. You copy the name of the class and you create a function with the name of the class. And then you could pass parameters into that class. Which I guess this is the first time that we've passed parameters. So it will be pretty weird. Well, I mean here you're passing a parameter there. It's basically the same thing. Okay, so what we're going to want is we're going to want first. So we're going to want a type char first. So you want to not overload it. So you want to just put in an M or an N or something like that. It all depends on your style. I forgot it again. So now when you go in, basically all you need to do is do first initial equals M first initial. And last initial is equal to M last initial. So now we are saving those variables that we pass in to our instance variables there. Now we could use this and create a new object using this. All you have to do is you go here and you just need to change this slightly. So what you're going to add is a bracket. And then inside the bracket is going to be this two setup here, the first initial and the last initial. So here, let's do my first initial. So of course with a char, you're going to need a single quote. And now that automatically sets those two variables in one at a time. Let's do like J, oops, and K. So first and last initial there. And let's go ahead and jump into each of those instances and do the last INI for both. And let's see what we get. So I misspelled first here. Let's go ahead and build that again. Alright, so we succeeded here. Let's go ahead and run it. Okay, so we have M and K. So you can see there that there are two different variables stored in, and we created that with the instance. So now why would you want a constructor? You see there that we have the basics. We're able to identify who that instance belongs to. I mean, so you're going to usually have some sort of ID number. So like a product ID is like the basics, right? And then you would set everything else up after that. So usually the constructor handles setting up. You usually pass as an argument just the basics that you need, the essentials that you need for the data structure to work. So the prerequisites. So you're going to need to know a few things when you set up the data structure. So in this case, on this particular setup, I'm probably going to want to know who it belongs to first. So let's say they haven't set up a class yet, but they would need to know this, and then like their grade number. Their grade number would be another one. So what grade they're in, right? And then that's the basics. And then you could later add, you know, classes that they're in, etc., etc. Now the next thing I wanted to talk about is getters and setters. So we'll get a lot more practice in with constructors later on. Getters and setters are also very good practice for passing in parameters and returning arguments. So basically what we're going to do is usually in a general environment. So watch this. So there's also something called private and public, and I will explain what those are a little bit later. So now if you watch here and I try to build this, I set it as private, it should throw an error when I try to, It says it cannot access. I have 4 errors because I try to access these things twice. I try to set these things twice and I try to pull these things twice. Because they're now private, you cannot access it outside of the class. I mean, I guess that's a little too far. So let's just go back and just forget that I said that. Okay, so give me 1 second. So let's go ahead and set up getters and setters and show you how to use getters and setters instead of going directly and setting GPA. So let's say we want to do a set GPA. And we're using camel caps. We're using camel caps there, and we're going to say it's going to do a type double MGPA. And you're going to do exactly how you did in the constructor. So GPA is equal to MGPA. Bam, you're done. And let's do something that we're going to use to get the GPA. So we're going to say get GPA, and now you see it's almost exactly identical except for we're going to receive a double. And it's going to have no parameters. So they're basically flipped of each other. Set, you take in parameters, and get, you don't have any parameters. And you're just going to return GPA. Bam, you're done. Okay, so now what you're going to see is I'm just going to change this guy to just get GPA dot get GPA, and then this is going to be set GPA, and you're just going to just put that 15 in there. And you'll see that it works exactly how we had last time. Okay, let me... Okay, let me just set these. Let me see what the problem is here. Missing type specifier. Double GPA, so GPA is a double. Oh, this guy needs to be a void. That's why. So yeah, remember to put the void there. So if you're not returning anything, you need to set void. Alright, so you see there, it works exactly how you want it to. It gets 15, get 20, it's exactly previously. So let's say if you did this, remember previously that if we had that it didn't work if we set it private, that it failed to pass, and now it works because we're using getters and setters to interface with those values. So let's go ahead and let's just leave that how it is. Okay, so why do you use getters and setters? Getters and setters are used maybe not so often for you too much. I mean, it's a general practice in programming that you use getters and setters, and that all your variables here, instance variables, are private, and all of your functions are public. The reason why is that if you later, release your code, you want to control how your variables are changed. For example, let's say if you have a loop that only goes from 0 to 5, and then you say how many times do you want to go through it, and someone enters in a 7, it will crash. And as a programmer, you always want to prevent crashes. So usually what happens is you'll have more inside these getters and setters. You'll have if loops to check to make sure they're within a certain bound, just like we had here. See how we checked everything to make sure that it doesn't give us any problems, and no matter what, it didn't crash? So this is something, if we were wanting to accept a grade that they passed into us, we want to check inside this set current grade. We want to check to make sure that that's actually a valid entry. So that's usually what it does, is it checks for validity to make sure that you don't accidentally destroy the program because you're not completely sure how it works, how the inside works. So that way you could, through documentation as well, it's another layer of security to keep people from crashing programs. And you'll see that a lot later on, and as you further explore programming. Alright, so this has been Steven from LegitTechTutorials. Thank you for watching this tutorial on C++. We will be going over these subjects a lot more, so if you don't get them right now, you will get them later. If you like this video, please subscribe for more videos like it in this series and other series as well. If you have any questions, email me. The reference to the book is in the description, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace. Take it easy.